Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is Elmo the Conservative, and I have a guest in the studio with us today. It goes by the name of HECELIZA. Even though this is usually a political podcast and things dealing with right leaning or conservative views, we all have some things in common, and that is good health. Our mental, our physical, and our spiritual is all connected and anybody who's a good person, and whatever someone's agenda may be with politics, they should want the overall help and healing and peace of everyone. So we have Hesaliza in the studio, and I want to say hello to you and just ask how you're doing today.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on, Elmo.
All right, you're welcome. So she is a guru and very educated on things related to, like I said, just peace and mental health, how to deal with anxiety and trauma and things like that. So hey, everybody, pull up a chair, turn up the volume, and I just hope that this blesses everyone and you get something out of it. I thought I would start with the thing on the intergenerational or ancestry healing. And sometimes there are things that may have happened in our family, in our lineage before we were born that can be passed down to us. Some things are taught, other things, trauma can be passed on. So I want to ask you to first start speaking on that, and then also, has there been something personally that happened in your family or in your life that came to you that way that you had to conquer?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this topic up first. A lot of people don't, and something I'm passionate about. Like I always say, I love to work with first generation cycle breakers. I come from my parents were immigrants from the Philippines, so I'm a first generation born in the United States. Um, and we've got, you know, they had to leave their country. My great grandparents had to go through war, and before that was a whole civilization before the Spaniards came to colonize. So
Right.
really what happened was I started tapping into my ancestors, just came through during a actually breathwork session is where I tap into a lot of that, and I couldn't deny the connection that was coming through and the wisdom, a lot of wisdom that they had shown me. But also a lot of all our ancestors generations back had faced, whether it was war, famine, some kind of trauma, some kind of threat to their survival. Like you were saying, this all lives in our DNA, our blood. It was passed down to us. And kind of generation after generation, it may morph and change into something else that we inherit. And a closer example I like to say to people is when your grandmother, when your mom was a baby in your grandmother's womb, you were still in there. You were an ovary, an egg within your mom. So whatever your grandmother was happening to her when she was carrying your mother,
Yeah.
any conflicts, any energies that came at her, your mother had felt it, and so did you. You absorbed that, and it morphed and manifested into something else. And now we come here to us, and there could be things that were passed on that morphed in terms of like addictions. Addictions are things that of many sorts that can be passed through genetically through the bloodline.
Yeah, name a few of those, just because most people hear addiction and they think cocaine, heroin, or uh, I heard about the alcoholic gene.
Yes,
But can there be an addiction to chaos? Can there be an anger problem, that's passed down?
definitely. So, let's take anger, right? And that is something that, what if your 5 generations back, let's say, and your grandmother or grandfather was not allowed to express anger even
Yeah.
because maybe they were captured, there was a war, and they had to just be quiet to survive. right?
Sure.
And that anger, the expression to not be able to express that transformed and was morphed into passing it down into an unhealthy way to express anger because it's been bottled up. Or
Yeah.
then it shows into the let's say a grandparent showed anger in an unhealthy way, then showed your parent anger and they took it in a different unhealthy way, maybe not to mimic the same way, but they transit and changed it into they don't even want to express anger because anger was expressed in an unhealthy way. So now they don't know how to show anger. And then you, as yourself, didn't learn how to just express your needs, whether it was anger or anything else, and let it bottle up. And then it expresses itself
Yeah.
in a blow up, right? In a different way.
Yeah. There's a funny thing, or kind of a phenomenon about blow ups or explosions, or like a riot is like a group blow up. And it looks crazy, but things like that are never organized or planned out or pre planned. They just like a balloon or anything, when it pops, things are going to go out from all edges, from all angles. People don't put thought into how something shows up. And then the kind of person that I am, things that I talk about that may negatively affect other people. I'm always about accountability. And it's okay if something bad happened to you or something that was out of your control. It's not okay to stay stuck or to be there, or another thing I like to say is whatever is in you, you're going to pour it out on other people, especially those that are closest to you. The people around us can be kind of like a mirror. So if someone is showing you or telling you, hey, you are at the least or the lowest level, not treating people the way that you want to be treated, do something about it. I'll help you if you want to do it on your own. Some people like to seek a stranger because there's not as much of a personal connection, and they feel like it's not as much judgment. But we have to take accountability for ourselves, and I just want people to know that the good news is that tomorrow and next week are open wide as far as where you will land and where you will live, and where you can go about whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah, I like that. And, it's really about connecting back to yourself and choosing, choosing what you're going to do tomorrow, choosing how can you operate from a place of love. I talk about a lot of that. Of
Yeah.
like, love is the highest frequency and vibration. Imagine if we all just chose love to in our actions, daily express in that highest vibration and frequency of the energy of love, what this world would look like.
It would be so much better, and I believe the land would be even more vibrant and lush. Like the grass and the animals and the flowers would all feel it. That's a real thing. It's a contagious thing, and it definitely there's like a vibe or a spirit in different communities about what is being shared and passed around. I would like you to, if you can, just give a couple real practical examples of something that you would advise someone to do in therapy. Just a couple of nuggets that people can take with them.
No,
Um, and I know there's many different things that
I
folks
know.
can be dealing with. Let's say someone who is they're stressed because of being overworked, too much physical work, or maybe the people they're dealing with, they have a stressful job. They work at the gate at the airport, so they have to deal with 500 personalities a day. What are a couple practical things that you teach or advise people on?
Um, I love talking to people about breath work, and there's a whole thing about a breath work journey, which is more of a specialized thing to get you into a non-ordinary state of consciousness. But for just a practical takeaway now is simple breathing practices because we go around our busy lives. When have you taken a breath today? Have you even noticed your breath? And when we get stressed, we're taking shorter breaths. But when we can connect to our breath, when we can manipulate the depth at which we breathe, the rate at which we breathe, we're actually connecting with the body and we're quieting the mind for a few seconds. All that ego, that chatter mind, we can quiet down, connect to our breath and body, calm our nervous system down, allow ourselves not to be in this like fight or flight mode. And that's when the rest, like that's when we can like get to homeostasis and our innate healing abilities will start to happen, whether it's an emotional, mental, physical healing you need within you. We're all our own healers. We can innately heal. So like just like, hey, at the end of the day, yes, I dealt with so many people. I had all this stuff or like in the middle of it. And it's like, hey, let's all just close our eyes for 1 second, take a deep inhale, and then open mouth, exhale. And with that exhale, sigh it out, release any stagnant energy, emotions you've been holding on to. Release anything that's holding you back. And
Yes.
do that for a few seconds if you need that. Like big, deep inhale, exhale, release. Let it go. And with every breath you take in and every exhale, connecting with your breath, with your body, with your spirit.
Now, how do you feel in terms of someone connecting with their body and having that peace? How important would you say sleep is, or maybe how people spend their time or the state of mind they're in that last hour before they go to sleep?
I think that's very important. I practice where I'm not on screen 1 hour before sleep just to help, my circadian rhythm. And I don't reach for my phone when I wake up either.
Yeah. No, so I was going to ask, when you said on screen, you don't mean necessarily on camera, but you
Oh,
mean
no.
interacting with the phone.
Or even the TV, any of that blue
Oh,
light, the phone, but mostly the
okay.
phone because
Yeah.
everyone's on their phone and on TV. Watching
Yeah.
TV, I feel like at the same time too, but especially in
Yeah.
bed, no, I'm not on my phone scrolling, looking at it
Right.
right before I go to bed. I think that's um,
That's
just very important to allow your brain to settle in. But back to the breath too, when we're taking those deep breaths in, we're bringing more oxygen into the brain so that we can have a better night's sleep. And when we're able to deliver more oxygen into the brain when we're sleeping, our brain is cleaning and nourishing itself, cleaning and ridding itself of toxins. So we're having a better night's sleep. And then the next day, we're more focused, we're on point, we can have a good
wow.
start to our day.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I know that the subconscious is constantly filtering and shuffling through and filing and dealing with things, but it seems to be like something, if we were somehow being monitored with some kind of a machine, that it could be seen that the brain is like a physical cleaning that's going on when we're sleeping.
Yeah. And speaking of the subconscious, do you know we are only using the conscious part of our brain 8% at 8%. The rest of it is we're subconsciously using we're in our subconscious.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's almost as if most of what is going on with us is not what is in our hands or who we're talking to or what's right in front of us at the moment.
No, it's kind of like when you're driving anywhere. Have you ever driven and you got to from point A to B and you're like, what just happened in the last 10 minutes? Because you were kind of
Mhm.
not really there and focused. You're in your
Yeah,
subconscious.
especially on routine routes.
Hmm.
That just yeah, a guy told me one time, and this is because he was dangerously tired. He really shouldn't have been driving, but he said the last 10 minutes, or like he couldn't account for it. He said he just remembers pulling in his garage.
Yeah.
This was like right at the time it happened, and so you got to pull over. But I never sleep with my phone in the bed, and that,
Okay.
that may seem like an obvious thing that you shouldn't have to say, but I bet you most people they get into bed with their phone, and you
Definitely.
you don't. It's not that important. Whatever people need to do. I totally agree. With what you were saying about just disconnecting and winding down, not only from the phone, but basically anything electronic, a substantial amount of time before you go to bed.
And just think what kind of quality of sleep you can have if you weren't on your phone, because the phone and the screen and the trigger, whatever triggering things you're reading is keeping you awake. So imagine if you got
Right.
that hour back, had one more hour of sleep, you wouldn't need your alarm because you would naturally wake up when your body naturally wanted to, and you would be
Mm.
rested and awake.
And then I see that you came up in San Diego, California.
Yeah,
You say you're first generation, so you were born here,
I
or you
was.
came here very young.
I was born in San Diego, born and raised in San
Yeah,
Diego.
yeah. I've been there before. It's a beautiful place, which your environment is important, and it affects you. I'll bet 99 times out of 100 you'll find happier people in San Diego than in Portland or Seattle. Where it's
Son.
very cloudy. Yeah, yeah, right. Man, seeing that bright, beautiful blue sky and the sun, it could definitely have an effect on you. Not to mention, I take vitamin D supplements every day because I work at night. So I take vitamin D, and I'm trying to get out in nature and get out in sun as much as possible. But then, so going back to your background, is there anything you want to say about your life coming up in San Diego? And can you also tell us what was the defining moment for you when you knew that you wanted to do this as a career in helping healing other people?
Yeah. So I first learned all this. I was living in Bali. I live in Bali a few months out of the year and learned all these healing modalities. And as I, selfishly wanted to learn for myself to learn if I could learn something like Reiki and instantly calm my nervous system down like that with just my hands, I'm like, sign me up, let me learn. But I
Oh
started
wow!
practicing on other people. And I realized as I was helping other people, helping flow this life force universal energy through them, helping them, guiding them, supporting them with, mental, physical, emotional, whatever they want, their journey. I was like, this is why I'm here. This is my gift.
Right,
This is my purpose to serve other people and help them grow the way ever how the through the journey I went through. And so now that was 8 years ago. I'm now a Reiki master teacher, breathwork facilitator, sound healer. So my whole thing is to empower other people by teaching them Reiki or leading them through their own breathwork practice. Empower you that you are your own healer. You are your own guide. All
yes,
that innate wisdom lives within you. And so even I have coming up next month a basically a 3 month mentorship cohort. It starts off with so anybody in the world, 'cause it's online, a weekend where you are trained, certified as a Reiki practitioner, level 1. And then for the 3 months, it's in a cohort and I will support the group in learning more energy healing practices, working on their intuition development, and also working on releasing any other really big things that they've been like blocks and shadows they've been working through. So by the end of that 3 months, it takes 90 days for a practice to become part of your lifestyle. But by the end of the 90 days, you will know how to regulate your nervous system so you can live within inner peace, balance, and guidance in your daily life. Because yeah, I can say I am a much more calm Zen person than I was. I actually used to live in New York too, working in fashion and advertising, complete opposite. But like
yeah,
from that energy, right? I am able to operate from a place of ease and flow in my daily life, but we're human.
right,
I still get stressors, different emotions, anger,
sure,
irritation. But what happens is how I deal with it. I let it enter my body. I can release it. I can respond from a neutral space and I can move on. And I think instead of
yeah,
letting my anger or stress debilitate me, right, and affect me all day or let it pounce on other people, I am now like able to really self regulate.
Right. Okay. And then I know that you've done something with fashion. I read that in your profile, and then also you said you were working in fashion in New York. So you want to talk about that at all, or let people know where they may be able to buy your clothing or your products?
I actually no longer do that. So that's where I'm full time in my healing business. But before
Okay.
then, I did work in fashion advertising, and I think that's where I had my whole this is not my life's purpose. I'm not helping the world one fashion handbag at a time. And that's when I was kind of searching the world for deeper meaning.
Oh, that sounds exciting. And so you traveled, you've lived in several countries. And I think it's a good thing to travel. I think that someone's destiny or where they need to work may not necessarily be where they have lived or where they're from. So you gotta people gotta go on a journey, and the physical journey is one of those places. And so New York or Manhattan is one of the busiest places in the world. And so people, they have this curiosity about how things are, or I want to explore, I want to see how life is in different places. So it's like once you've done that or gone through it, then that's information for you, and it lets you know if it's for you or if it's not. You know, and then so you mentioned there's a seminar that you're doing soon. Do you want to mention that again? For people that could possibly sign up for that or be a part of it.
Yeah, so I think you'll put in the show notes where you can find me. My website's HECELIZA.com, or you can DM me if you're interested on Instagram, HECELIZA underscore energy healing. So in September 21 actually is the kickoff. Is a 3 month program mentorship, and I'll kick off with a Reiki level 1 training. You'll be certified as a Reiki practitioner. And what's great is you'll be with a cohort of people, because I think like people go on a personal growth journey, some transformation, as start on their spiritual growth journey. It can kind of be lonely. But even if you're
Sure.
just into your own health and you weren't into that, or the people around you weren't into that, so the conversations you have with friends you've had for a long time, like it might not feel like it fits
Yeah.
anymore. So it's great to have like to meet other people along the same path as you and have a cohort together. And through then the next 3 months, I guide you in teaching other energy healing practices, intuition development, and then really go through deeper exercises like ancestral clearing and healing, connecting with your ancestors, breaking through generational traumas, connecting in other energetic ways to your own basically energetic blueprint. And then by the end of those 3 months, I'm, guarantee that you will be able to operate from a place of inner peace.
Willingness is one of the biggest hurdles that people have to get over. Being willing to change, not thinking that you know everything, not you have to do everything the way that your parents did necessarily. We definitely don't know all the answers. What you do is akin to being a doctor, a teacher, and someone who is studying this. It's an ongoing thing, and you have to be an open-minded person to do that. And I just want to see everyone, and everyone can't, but I want people to be healthy. I want them to make good choices. I want them to find what they
Yes.
need, and you have to do that by going on your own personal journey and personal path. And then, so we heard the website that you mentioned, but also there's a subset of that I wanted to bring to people's attention or send them to also. So it is www heceliza.com, but then also /free dash meditation. So make sure you go to that. You can go to the whole site, but make sure you go to that page also and see what's there. I'm sure there'll be some helpful information. And so I'm going to let you have the last word or the last point to say, and then we'll say our sign offs for the audience. So, what do you want to leave people with today?
Yeah, we this is all about just coming home to ourselves. That I call it your higher self, who your soul was on this earth to be before all the conditioning of environment, caretakers, social media, right? It's like clearing all that limiting beliefs, the blocks to get back to who you truly are and try to live that aligned life where you're just living from pure joy and love.
Oh
And I
man,
love to help guide anybody to get there.
yeah, that is gold. That is amazing, and people can look at you and see your joy and your peace, and I'm sure they want what you have. So thank you for all the people that you're helping, and everyone that's in your community that's changing lives in this way. You can go to brute honest radio at gmail.com to send me a message. You can follow us on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and YouTube to catch our podcast. So thank you, everybody. Take care, and
Thank
we'll see you on the
you.
next episode.